Right, so welcome everyone. My name is Herman Chique Alfonso, and I'm the Education and Program Coordinator for the Dementia Society of Ottawa and Renfrew County. Welcome to our webinar, How to Become a Better Caregiver by Understanding the Power Number 3. We're pleased to introduce our guest speaker today. He is Ron Beleno. He's an active member, an advisor, and a mentor on numerous organizations in educational institutions such as AGE-WELL, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, and Dementia Advocacy Canada. So without further ado, I will turn the floor over to Ron. And welcome back, Ron, to the Dementia Society.
Hi, Jermaine, and hi, everyone. It's Ron Beleno here. Thanks for having me. I look forward to chatting with all of you right now. I am seeing who's joined us today. Some are familiar names, and many of you are brand new to me. So I look forward to being friends and giving you some tips and strategies to help you out. So my presentation is might look small to your screen right now, but I'm actually going to spotlight myself. Okay, so I should be full screen to all of you right now. And you can see my presentation right over here which is to my right, probably, not sure on your end, you're probably going to see it on your right side too. But it's going to be part of I'm going to be part of the presentation. And during this talk, I'll go about 40 minutes here. If you want to chat, you're more than welcome to type something into the chat. I will probably reserve it until the end, the last 15 minutes, but I might be able to answer it during the presentation as well. Okay, so you are welcome to type in something in the chat here. Okay, so greetings everyone. And my presentation today is how to become a better caregiver by understanding the power of the number 3. 3 is a powerful number. I am a little biased to that number because I was born March 3. So the 3rd month of the 3rd day, that's just kind of my little attachment to the number 3 for many years. But you could look up, what it means to utilize the number 3. And for myself, who was a caregiver to a father that had Alzheimer's and dementia, which I'll share a bit in a few minutes, I actually utilized 3 many times, okay? And some of you have seen my presentations before. The first 10 minutes, it'll be something you've always seen. I always start off the same way. But this time I'm going to emphasize a little bit more on choices, on how to get better at making choices. And we are going to use the number 3 as kind of a foundation for this, okay? So let's get at it there. Okay, so there's my contact details. I'll post it up again at the end. So you are welcome to reach out to me or look me up or go on social media and follow me there. Those are my details. I want to first say thank you to the Dementia Society of Ottawa and Renfrew County for inviting me again. I think it's been almost a year now. I can't recall if I presented last year during the pandemic or before, but right now life has definitely changed for many of us, especially those that likely are here who are caregivers. This presentation is meant for the caregiver community specifically. If you're not a caregiver, interpret this or understand this presentation from the perspective of caregivers, and it's meant for caregivers, okay? So this is also a thank you to you for taking the next 50 minutes or the next hour that you're at to have me present to you, to trust me and hopefully giving you some ideas and some tips, okay? So I always start off with my request of you, okay? If you are seeing this for the first time, okay? As much as you're listening to me, someone who might be experienced, sometimes people might say, well, he's an expert on this topic. I shouldn't be the expert. In the end, you are the expert of your own life, okay? Of the path that you're going on, of how you're gonna handle your situation, okay? So that's something I need you to understand, okay? So just because I say something, I present something here today, you do not need to accept anything or everything that Ron says, okay? That's the first thing I'm asking of you. You are allowed to, number 1, agree. Number 2, you could disagree. Or number 3, if you're not sure and you want more time, you can sit on the fence, okay? So those are 3 choices you have, okay, throughout this presentation, okay? So you have the power of choice. You don't need to agree with Ron or anybody else. Now, I'm probably the only one presenting today and going to be talking, but again, you might hear comments in the chat by someone else. Could be another person attending. You could agree with it, disagree, or sit on the fence, okay? Number two, not all of what you will see or hear from me today is meant for every situation. I will be giving you some examples. We will discuss some challenges, some scenarios that apply to my world, okay, that I had to deal with. And also it's quite common from my experiences with many others, but that does not necessarily mean it's going to be the same for you, which is why there is no one solution, okay, for whatever it is you're trying to solve for, you know, in your life as a caregiver, as someone caring for someone with dementia, okay? You might have a higher chance of success, okay, with some solutions or ideas or strategies that I might share, but remember, it's not meant for every situation. You're going to have to adapt and adjust based on your situation. What I'm asking you to do here is to be open-minded on ideas, and remember, you still get to choose, agree, disagree, or sit on the fence, okay? I hope you're getting a theme here, okay? 3 choices. Number 3, my goal is to help you to create and choose solutions to live better, okay? So the goal here is that, you know, I gave some examples here of how do you get better at making choices, okay? Choices lead to actions, okay? But even before you start acting, responding, you need to make that choice. Many times it's not even conscious, okay, for caregivers, okay? If you're not familiar with that, many times caregivers are just reacting to a situation, okay, to whatever's going on, okay? Hopefully with some preparation, some education, some skills that you develop along the way, you will get better, okay, at those choices, which then result in hopefully better actions, okay? So some choices might be around, I'm just picking some topics like technologies and tools. I do a lot of presentations on technologies. Just grab stuff, you know, like you're thinking technologies like this, like a phone, like a sensor or a camera, okay? Those are some examples of technologies. I am actually grabbing my dad's first GPS device. Okay, my dad used to go missing. Okay, this was the first one. We actually went through 4 different devices. Okay, why this one was the best choice at the beginning, but then later on it wasn't the best choice as we moved along. Okay, so technologies and tools, the words you use. Okay, so how do you choose words that are better for you? We'll talk about that in a second. Relationships. Some relationships are great, some relationships are not, okay? Just because someone is family doesn't mean they're the best person, okay, that can be a caregiver, okay, or that they're the one you go for advice or go to for advice, okay? So relationships is something we got to work on. Responses, okay, that's a big one for caregivers. How do you respond? Okay? How do you react or be proactive, okay? Also, the meaning of your stories, okay? How do you attach, okay, what's going on in your life, okay, to, you know, what could be better, okay? So some people choose words, they choose specific meanings, okay? And I'm gonna discuss, you know, hey, there's more than one choice, okay? There's other meanings that you can attach. Which one is the better choice, okay, for you as a caregiver, okay? Number 4, your job. I'm asking, okay, but again, you don't have to, but likely and hopefully you can take action, okay, on at least 3 new ideas, tips, or strategies that you're going to hear in the next while, okay? So if you can just find 3 things, because I'm going to give you a whole bunch of ideas, okay? You can take your notes or whatever, or you don't have to, but if you come up with 3 new ideas, tips, or strategies, you know, give that a try, okay? It doesn't mean you have to keep doing it, but I'm just suggesting, you know, try it out. Okay. Number 5, this presentation is not perfect, okay? And that is spelled incorrectly on purpose. I am not about perfection, okay? There may be spelling mistakes, maybe purposely in this presentation, maybe I didn't even really pay attention, and there was one that I just didn't pay attention to. There could be poor grammar, screw ups, and failures, okay, that's allowed, okay, because that's what caregivers go through. That's what life is about, okay? We're not living a life of perfection, and dementia is not a game of perfection, okay? We are going to be dealing with failures, and that is a healthy word that I want people to understand, that it could be challenging, okay? You might be striving for a type of life that you want to pursue. It may not be the path that you had envisioned, okay? So how do you adjust, okay? How do you make choices? How do you adapt, okay? So that you continue to live as best as possible, okay? So failures. I always want to bring up this topic about failing, okay? We are going to fail. I failed, okay? That's in life in general, but as well in dementia. It could be failures daily. And how do you handle that? Okay. Ideally, fail forward, okay? If you can fail forward so that you could learn, and that as you move forward, it doesn't get worse, okay? Hopefully better. That is kind of the goal, okay? And here's an acronym that I like to use that I made. Failure is an opportunity to find another important lesson, okay? That's what failing is, okay? Find another important lesson under review of the experience, okay? Okay, so an example could be early on, okay? Hey, and I'll keep that there for you for a second, okay? And I'll come back to me here. So failing, okay? A good example, many times at the very beginning, something as simple as my father forgetting something, okay? And if I were to snap at him, okay, and say, Dad, how can you not remember that? Okay, I keep telling you this, Dad. I keep repeating this over to you, or, you know, that's not my name, Dad. Okay, that's not my dad who I should be getting angry with. Okay, that is something for me to learn that, hey, I'm actually failing in this because it's not my dad, you know, that I should be upset with. It's actually more, how do I support him? How do I support myself to say, hey, this is part of the disease that we're dealing with. And that's just an example of memory, okay, on the challenge of maybe memory, but there's many more challenges which we'll talk about in a second here, okay? So fail forward, okay? So that is my request. I think, do I have any more here? Oh, one more. We are all cheering for each other. I always remind everyone, I cheer for you. I'm cheering for the Dementia Society, anyone doing work in this space. We cheer for each other, okay? We need to support each other as much as we can, okay? So just letting you know that let's all continue to cheer for each other, okay? So I'm gonna be talking about being a caregiver. Let me zoom in on this. Oh, hang on. Being a caregiver is my first thing. I'm gonna talk about how to interpret the challenges that caregivers encounter. I know they might be small on your screen, but they'll be larger as I zoom in there. Becoming a conscious, calculating caregiver, and then how to harness the power of 3 or more choices, okay, to get better results. Okay, then we'll have a Q&A after. Okay. So being a caregiver, let's go on that one there. So let's start with the word caregiver. Okay, who are caregivers? Okay. So some people get triggered by the word caregiving, okay, or the word caregiver, okay. That is a choice, okay, maybe unconscious that some people don't realize, okay. Some people do not prefer that word. They prefer the word care partner, carer. They might just say that, hey, I'm the son, I'm the daughter, okay, husband, wife's partner, I'm the brother, sibling, spouse. So you're seeing some names there. Some people might call you an informal caregiver, okay? So that could be an unpaid caregiver. There are many labels. Some of you do not like some of them. Some of you don't even really care, okay? I'm throwing it out to you to be careful of words, okay? Protect yourself from words that are gonna come in your life, okay? That could weaken you, okay? Honestly, after many years of caregiving and spending time with the whole community, I kind of look at it and I say, you know what, words are important, okay? But also we need to move past the words, okay? We need to look past, you know, the intent, okay? Or we need to understand the intent. If the intent is that someone's not trying to trigger you, move past that, okay? For today's presentation, I'm gonna use the most popular one, which is caregiver, okay? That is just my choice that I'm gonna use for today, but it could be anything you want, okay, out of this list, or something else that you choose, okay? So I just want you to understand, we choose different words, okay? Choose the one that's best for you, okay? I've given you like a bunch here, but again, there's probably more than one word, okay? At least three. There's always at least three words that you can come up with, okay? So just starting with that there. Now, the intent that we're all trying to work on here, okay, the key piece is caring, that we all care, okay? So whatever name that is, all I do know, what I do know is that many of you care, okay? Care for someone else. And I'm going to reverse this as well, okay? I'm assuming there's many caregivers here, okay, that's listening in, okay? You need to also learn how to care for yourself, okay? Caring for yourself is something that caregivers forget about, okay? Another day you could watch another presentation of mine, but I talk about, how caregivers try to be Superman and Wonder Woman, okay? The superheroes. They try to do it by themselves, or they think they can do it all by themselves, okay? And they forget about caring for themselves. So never forget about yourself, okay? But in the end, right now, we are caring for someone else with dementia, whatever kind of dementia that may be, okay? Little background, okay? So who are these two people? Okay, that's mom and dad. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit here. I'll shift over here a bit. That's mom and dad. Oh, sorry, that goes back down. My mom's name is Ronces. My dad's name is Reynaldo. Okay, Filipinos, they have this tendency that they like to combine their names. My mom, Ronces, if you live in Toronto, there's a street called Roncesvalles. My mom's full name is the same, exact same name, Roncesvalles. She goes by Ronces. My dad is Reynaldo, and they combine it, okay? And they have their only son, though they're one child. They get the Ron and the Aldo, and they get Ronaldo. Okay, so that's my full name. But I always make this little joke that sometimes it goes the other way around. If my dad went first, which I'm lucky he didn't lead with the name, they would have taken the Ray, and then they would have taken Sess from my mom, and I would have been called racist, okay? Spelled differently from that other word, racist, but I would have been called racist. So I'm glad I'm not named racist, okay? I got Ronaldo there. Okay. Part of the care team as well, you'll see, okay? This photo was taken, I think, about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe. But Lucky, the cat, Lucky now is around 19 years old, okay? But Lucky has been and continues to be part of the care team, okay? So Lucky is there. That is, to my mom, my brother, okay? Because I had no siblings, she officially made Lucky, the cat, my brother, and Lucky is the favorite now for many years, gets more attention than I do, and I think my mom is serious about this. I think Lucky is ahead of me on the will if she goes before Lucky, okay? So that is Lucky the cat. Okay, so that's me being a caregiver. That's just an example of caregiving, but I'll go into it a little bit more here. So dementia, okay, let's say life without dementia, let's start with that, is that you're living life, okay? You're going through life. Many of you are at different stages. I don't know the audience here. Some are adult caregivers, okay? Adult, you could be partners. Some of you are older caregivers. Some are young caregivers, okay? In the end, we care. That is the intent, okay? That we're caring for someone, okay? Now, I want you to understand my perspective. You can agree or disagree or sit on the fence on this, but I don't look at what we deal with, especially around dementia, as a problem. I never looked at it as a problem. I made a choice to not use the word problem. That was just me. I chose the word challenge, okay? So challenge for me means that it's something we're trying to solve for, that there are solutions, hopefully, okay? That there's something we're trying to resolve, okay? And it's something that I'm trying to look at forward thinking, okay? So that's when I talked about fail forward. Well, you're just dealing with challenges where you're failing at these challenges, and can you move forward with them, okay? So how to interpret the challenges that caregivers encounter, okay? So there's my dad, okay? And I'll zoom in here. You don't need to read all of them. If you can't, if it's too small, I'll read some of them out, but here are some of the challenges that we had to deal with. Okay, so but a brief summary, my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's back in 2007. Okay, and he passed away in 2018. Okay, for us, we were able to keep him at home in his apartment here in Toronto with my mom and Lucky the cat, and he passed away in his sleep in January of 2018. Okay, was that easy? No. Did we have a lot of challenges? Yes. Okay, and I'll discuss some ways of how we handle the challenges with the number 3. Okay, with the power of using the number 3. Okay, but here are some of the challenges: memory loss. Okay, communication, moods and behaviors. Okay, so that would be moods and behaviors, not just with my dad, okay, but also with my mom and with myself. Okay, I didn't live with them. Okay, I'm 20 minutes away from them, but there are days where I would spend, even weekends, you know, a few days here and there that I would spend time living with them. But I'm also considered a remote caregiver, you know, where I would, you know, not far, I haven't lived too far, so I could easily get to them. But, you know, moods and behaviors of me, the caregiver, would go up and down. Same for my mom and same for my dad. Okay, so that's some of the challenges we were dealing with. Some physical challenges, mobility and falls. Okay, in the later years for my dad, we were having issues with him and his ability to move around the house. Okay, we were dealing with incontinence. One big challenge that I worked on a fair bit is wandering. Okay, so that's one I'm going to use an example today in my talk a fair bit here. So my dad would go out and he'd get lost, he'd go missing. Okay, wandering is one of those words in the dementia community that some people do not like. Okay, I respect that. Okay, but my intent here is like, let's get past the word. I'm just using that word that many people understand, wandering. Okay, or the risk of getting lost. Okay, or exit seeking or eloping. Okay, there are many other words of wandering. Okay, we're dealing with aphasia. Okay, that's something of swallowing and eating, and something that I'm starting to talk a fair bit about with some different communities, unintentional abuse. Okay, so that's another challenge we had. There are many times that I'll let you know that I was abusive. Okay, now abusive, I'll give you an example. What does that mean? Okay, I gave you one example earlier when I said to my dad, I said, "Dad, why are you forgetting my name?" Okay, this is very early on. Okay, I don't get, stop asking me this. Stop, that could technically be verbal abuse if it builds up. Okay, now that's a very soft example of abuse, but okay, abuse, okay, could be me, okay, pushing my dad onto the chair physically, okay, when he was getting aggressive, okay, when he was not everyone gets aggressive, okay, just want you to understand this here, okay, but there are times where my dad actually didn't think I was his son, and he thought I was some kind of stranger, okay, and then just randomly he would try and start shoving me and kind of like closing up his fist, and I would have to kind of like push him onto the chair because he was unstable at that point of standing, and the risk was he might fall on the ground. Okay, if someone were to just come in and see that, okay, they might interpret that as, well, okay, Ron's getting rough with his dad, where technically that wasn't intended, that was unintended abuse. Okay, someone could interpret, but bottom line is I just want people to understand, that is something that I'll be talking about a fair bit in the next, not today, but in future presentations, that which is the lesser evil. Okay, and there's a lot of work around this here. Okay, so are there better choices? Okay, can I come up with better choices? Yes. Sometimes I never came up with the best choice, but here's an example of for the verbal one would be saying, "Dad, I hear you. I'm your brother." He'd call me Tony many days, and Tony is my uncle. And I said, "Okay, I'm Tony." Okay, is it about me being right or doing what's best? Okay, so that is, a choice that some people are trying to be right, and sometimes that's the only choice you're thinking of. You're only choosing number one, but hey, there's number 2 and number 3. Okay, number 2 could be, it's not about me being right, it's doing what's best. Okay, so what's best could be just accepting my dad as, and the disease of where he's at and saying, "Yes, Dad, my name is Tony." Or number 3 could be negotiating. Okay, there's 4, number 5, there's many choices, but I just want you to understand there's many of these choices there. I'm going to skip out on a video of my dad. I'll, we'll move on from that there. But just want to let you know who was on our team. Okay, we had a whole bunch of community members. Of course, we had a family physician, police, paramedics. Here in Ontario, we have something called, we had something called the CCAC or the LINs that are some organizations that were helping us. So that's a list, okay? But for example, many people forget some other choices. They didn't realize, hey, you know what? When my dad would go missing, or to keep him safe in the community, okay, I added 2 or 3 other choices. Local retailers, coffee shops, okay, neighbors. Some people are afraid to share, okay, that, you know, their loved one has dementia, or the person with dementia doesn't want to share. I get that. If you don't choose that, if you don't choose to share, well then, what are your options, okay, or what are the results, okay? The better choices for us was we need to come up with number 2 and number 3 choices, okay? So we would get local retailers, coffee shops, okay? The neighbors to be aware of my dad, okay? And at least we increase the safety in the community, okay? We increased our chances of success by having more options, more choices, okay? At minimum 3 is what I always looked at. 3 backups, 3 people, 3 community members, okay? If you try to do it by yourself, okay, odds are you're gonna have a lot more challenges, okay? You're gonna struggle more, okay? My phrase is when you spread the stress, okay, you increase caregiving success. Okay? But when one alone tries to do it, you're gonna have a higher chance of failures, okay? And the failures are gonna be much more deeper, much more challenging. Okay? But again, when you start spreading that stress, okay, with at least 3 or more, you will have a higher chance of success, okay? So I don't want to go through this slide too much, but I just want you to kind of understand the basics, okay? This is a whole presentation on its own, okay? This is Ron's slide, something that I came up with many years ago. To me, it's a game of numbers. In this game, there are people, okay, who's, you know, there's individuals, families, friends, community, okay, all that you're seeing there, okay? But I want you to understand the 5 items at the bottom there specifically: the emotions, financials, time, energy, and psychographics, okay? Those are the ones that, for me, okay, are quite important, okay? And let me see. And any challenge, okay, so I gave a list of challenge, okay, or a bunch of challenges that I was dealing with, okay? I could put them in this slide for myself, okay? You don't need to, again, really understand this, but just understand the 5 at the bottom there that probably apply to you and could affect your choices, okay, of how you calculate. The 5 for me are, again, emotions, financials, time, energy, psychographics. So the challenge, for example, of my dad going missing, okay, him getting lost, him wanting to go out, and did we want to keep him in the home and lock him up? Sometimes that's choice number 1 for many people, okay? My goal was to get my dad, okay, I'll come here. Yeah, my goal was to get my dad to go out and live his life, to go out, even if you are at risk of wandering, how can we keep you safe, Dad? Okay, I wanted him to have more choice, to be free as much as we can, okay? But we have to be aware of the challenges of dementia. So eventually we got like a GPS device, okay? That's one of our choices, okay? We also told the neighbors, okay? That's number 2, okay? That's at least we have other eyes keeping an eye on him. If he were to go further into the community, okay? Number 3, okay, we had the coffee shop, we had the restaurant that he would like to take out food. We had the variety store where he'd go to, okay? So we increased, okay, the community. So those were 3 of our choices, okay? Whereas many, they would just lock the door and tell, you know, my dad, say, hey, you can't leave the house, okay? So there are many choices. You just got to come up with these choices as best as you can, okay? So that's just an example, okay? And with these 5 variables, you're solving for these: the emotions, okay? My stress level, okay? The fear of him being out there, the confidence, okay, that do we have confidence that my dad will return home, or the confidence in just myself in finding him? Okay, so that's something that we got to work on. Financials, okay, what's the cost? Okay, what's the cost of getting a GPS device? Or what's the cost if I have to leave work or leave whatever it is that I'm doing, dollar-wise? Okay, the time, okay, how long does it take to keep my dad safe or to look for him? Okay. Of course, the energy, it's tiring, it's physically draining, mentally draining. Okay, so that's another variable that I suggest people pay attention to. And something many don't understand and don't know about, because it's used more in the business community, are psychographics. Okay, and specifically psychographics, I'm interested in right here, the values. Okay, what does my dad value? My dad values, okay, what's a value to him? He values going to get his coffee. He values going to the church. Okay, he was a spiritual man. He values music. Okay, that is important in my world. And what is important in your world, I don't know. So it really depends. These are the ones that I want you guys to understand there. Okay, so that's the game of numbers in our lives. Okay, so understanding challenges. Now you understand the challenges. Okay, you know your role as a caregiver. Okay. Becoming a conscious, calculating caregiver. Okay, again, you can agree with this or not, this strategy, but I'll give you my strategy to kind of think about. Okay, so you're a caregiver. Okay, by coming today, hopefully you're getting some education, some ideas. So something I've worked on is calculating the numbers. Okay, I gave you those variables: emotions, dollars, times, your physical health, and psychographics. Okay, all that. Okay, you could put a number to each of them. Okay, when my dad was missing, when he was getting lost, okay, my fear level went up. Okay, my confidence went down. Okay, those are numbers. Okay, we had to call the police one time. Okay, I was at a fear level on a scale of 10. I was a 10. Okay, and my confidence was a 1, thinking, okay, are we going to find my dad alive? Okay, personally, I do a lot of work with people that go, that go missing around this space. I work with police services, researchers across Canada and internationally, and I do know families where, unfortunately, the person has been found deceased, okay, or actually hasn't even been found. They're still missing to this day. Okay, it happens. All these numbers we're playing with. Okay, the dollars, what does it cost? So return on the numbers. I want you to understand these. The most popular one is the ROI, return on investment. Okay, many people look at that in your financials. Okay, you invest, you put your money in the bank. What's the interest on that? What's the return on investment? You put your money on a house. Okay, you put money in education. Okay, and what's the return? Okay, so hopefully you get a higher ROI. Return on time. Okay, hopefully in this 1 hour that you're here today, okay, that you're going to get some kind of return. Okay, my hope is that by now you probably got a little bit of a return in some way by being part of this conversation here today. So return on time, it's 24 hours for everybody. And when it comes to the game of dementia, okay, it actually makes us 24 hours tough, okay, for caregivers. So we got to play with that. Return on tools, return on technology, okay? So for example, we used to have a camera, in my dad's home, okay? There's benefits and disadvantages to that, okay? But the return, okay, on having a camera reduced my fear level. I could check when he was relaxed, okay? Okay, I could tell when we needed to kind of respond and help him out, okay? So just having this alone provided a higher return on just because of that technology. That would also mean that I wouldn't have to rush over if I wasn't sure if he was doing well or not. I could see on the screen. Return on your emotions. Okay, as I said, coming back to this, okay, a GPS device, for example. Okay, it decreased my fear, increased my confidence, okay, by telling the community, okay, having choice number 2, telling the neighbors, choice number 3, telling the community, hey, please keep an eye out on my dad. Here's my phone number, okay, if ever you think you need to call me, okay. Decreased my fear, increase my confidence. Okay, so that's some of the strategies I want you to understand. Return on quality of life. Okay, that's a big one here. That, you know, so there's all these returns. Okay, so what's the return on choice number 1, number 2, and number 3? Many of you are just reacting to your first choice. And I'm trying to let you know, come up with choice number 2 and choice number 3. Okay? If you can, go for number 4, number 5, number 6, up to 10. Okay? There are so many choices. We just don't know how to calculate them. We don't understand, you know, how do we figure this out? Okay? So just letting you know, sometimes choice number 1 may be the best one, but many times it's not the best choice. There's many other choices. You just need to do the work. Okay? And we'll discuss that a little bit in a minute here. Okay, so the return on blank is you fill it in, that RO. Okay, I don't know what that is for you, but there are so many returns. You just got to understand what's important in your life. Okay, so that's called the return on numbers, or return on the numbers. Now, when I set this out, it was just by accident. Okay, return on the numbers, if you ever forget, okay, it actually spells my name. Okay, so the Rons. If you ever, again, I never planned that out. As I said, it just happened to be, okay, what are the numbers I'm calculating here? Okay, what, if I go with this solution or this choice, what's the return? Okay, so the Rons, if you ever forget about it, just say, okay, I need to calculate what is of importance. Okay, that's a return on the numbers. Okay, I'll finish this in the next 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll open it up for any questions. Okay, so how to harness the power of 3 or more choices. Okay, so it's not just 3, you know, but I'm saying a minimum of 3 choices to get better results. Okay, I'm going to give you just a few tips. Okay, there's many, I could go on and on and on to the benefits of 3, but I'll just give you some tips to kind of process how to do this. Do not just have one choice. Okay, if you can take a step back and you say, what are we dealing with right now? What is the challenge, okay, that's going on in our life right now with dementia? And I can't answer that for you right now because I don't know all your challenges. It's very different, okay, for a caregiver, you know, and a person with dementia that's starting off, you know, very early on in their journey just with life with dementia, okay, versus someone who might be, you know, at a very different stage, okay, where my dad was near end of life with dementia, okay? And in between that, there are going to be all these challenges that you're going to be dealing with, okay? That's going to happen. So I can't tell you, you know, which one, but somewhere for us, I'll just give you that example. In the middle, around years to 4 to 8, we were dealing with one of the challenges of my dad going missing, okay? So I gave you that example. Take what I gave you just now and apply to whatever challenge you're dealing with, okay? So, as I said, don't just have one choice, okay? Come up with 3 or more choices. And if need be, if you don't have the solution, ask for assistance. Go to some experts. Go to the Dementia Society of Ottawa and Renfrew County, okay? That's why they're there, okay? You could ask them. Right now, you could go to anyone else online. Go wherever you can. Get feedback. Say, hey, what are your 3 solutions around this challenge? Okay, we're dealing with this. Okay? And if you're not satisfied with those choices, go to another person. Go to another person. Okay. You could come to me and I might give you 3 choices, but you might find better choices through someone else. So that's what I want you to understand. Ask for assistance or look it up online or be creative. Okay, so those are some things there. I'm also going to throw out, okay, for you, okay, as caregivers, to come up with 3 timeframes. You know, maybe try and strategize life with goals, okay? Because there's the challenges, okay? And many times people think of the failures as things they don't want, okay? They're the pain points. But caregivers and families living with dementia also forget to live life, to look for the beauty in life, okay? It's gonna be probably a little different than maybe what you were planning, but okay, you need to look at goals, okay, what you're pursuing, okay, in life. And I would break that up into short-term, medium-term, and long-term, okay? Short-term goals could be, what's gonna happen in the next week, okay? Can we have, you know, with my dad, okay, this week, Dad, we're gonna have you make sure that you get some spirituality in your life and some music that you enjoy. Okay, that's for you, Dad. For me, okay, Dad, I'm gonna go treat myself, to a nice meal, okay, in the next few days, okay, or I'm gonna treat myself to stepping away, getting some respite, okay. That could be short term, okay, in the next few days. Medium term could be in the next month or so, okay. For some of you, that might mean, I'm gonna get a vaccine shot in the next month, okay. I'll feel safer, okay. Some of you don't believe in that. I'm not picking right or wrong here, but I'm just giving an example of something that you look forward to in the medium term. Or I'm going to get to see, a friend. Okay, that might even be long term with the pandemic right now. So that, that's another thing. But medium term could be, set something up for the medium term. For the long term, set something up as well down the road. Okay, 2 to 5 months. Plan a trip or something. Okay. Now, as I say that, there are no guarantees any of this will happen. Okay. But you just got to throw them out there. Okay, you got to set up 3 things. And as you get closer to them, if they don't happen, okay, then reset up another goal, okay, short term, medium, long term. Okay. And many times don't just look at stuff that's not happy, pursue something that will increase your spirits, increase your emotions, all that. So those are a couple examples of, the choices of 3 here. So always come up with 3 or more ideas. Okay. Now we're going to leave it open for questions. I just gave you this whole gist of how to look at the number 3. And I could give you many more tips, but that is just the basics for you to understand. Okay. Don't just have one choice, come up with 3 or more, ask for assistance, understand timing, okay, the time frames of your life, and no guarantees. Okay. So we'll open it up to Q questions and discussions. Jermaine, I'm not sure how you want to do this here. But I am going to say thank you to all of you for listening in, and there's my details, and you're welcome to reach out to me anytime afterwards, as well.
Yeah, so thank you, Ron, for that great presentation, and let's open up for questions. So Ichika, is there any question on Facebook Live or?
No, I haven't found any, but I will be checking. Just as a reminder, the Q&A box and chat box are both at the bottom of your screen. And if you type out a question, I can bring it to Ron's attention.
And so if there are none, I could continue talking always. Everyone knows who knows me can continue. One of the things, that caregivers, I believe, have challenges with is how to understand what's in front of them. And many times it's a reaction. Okay? Many times you're going to be reacting. Okay. Again, it's very different, at different stages, of life, of where you're at and where the person with dementia is. Okay. Not just at different stages, but all of us are also are living in different environments. Okay. Some of us are doing it by ourselves. Okay. Maybe with this, second person, maybe with a larger team. So you might have it easier. Okay. Sometimes the bigger the team it is, sometimes the more fighting happens. Okay. And I'm going to give one tip to those of you that might be dealing with family. Okay. And this is with siblings, and I coach many caregivers and families here and there. Sometimes you start battling each other and you forget it's dementia that we're battling. Okay. So it could be siblings trying to care for a mother. Okay. And the communication becomes a challenge with each other. Okay. They disagree. And they forget, hey, the battle is not with each other. Okay. We have to work together. Okay. So we could support mom. Okay. Up here. Okay. And it comes back to many times as you start off with the intent. Okay. Do you both, 2 of you or 3 of you care for your moms? And are we all on the same page that we want the best for her? And if that is a yes, then now it's about, okay, how do we move forward? What are our choices? Okay. How do we get better at this together? And the strategy I always tell families is saying, come up with 3 choices. Okay. Ideally, it'd be great if there's a care team of 3. Okay. That's what I always say to families. Like, hey, even if it's 2 of you, bring a 3rd person that you both trust. Okay. Bring that 3rd person to give that perspective. Okay. To make sure both sides are being heard. Okay. And that, that third person can kind of maybe lean towards, okay, this is where I think it's better. Okay, so 3 is always, again, still a healthy number, that as long as you, as a community, as a team, remember the intent, okay, you can come up with more powerful solutions and actions, as you move forward. So that's just one tip for families, okay, and don't battle each other. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we got a couple of questions here in the Q&A box. One person asked, you mentioned subsequent sessions. Will those be with the Dementia Society, actually?
Well, if you invite me back, yes, it could be. I do presentations, and thanks for that. I have a great relationship here with the Dementia Society of Ottawa, but I do presentations for many societies. I'll just type in my website and you'll see that, okay, I actually chat with everybody and anybody. So yeah, so that's just my link. So the answer is keep an eye, follow me wherever you can.
Awesome, that's great. And the next question asked about CC, to spread the stress. They missed the rest of the word.
Okay,
this was earlier in the
so the phrase is to increase caregiver success, you spread the stress. Okay, I should make a slide for this, but usually there is that one caregiver at the bottom, and here are all the challenges. Okay, and then the challenges start piling up, and it actually becomes like a reverse pyramid. Okay, the one caregiver, okay, dealing with all the weight. Okay, just imagine you get 2 caregivers. Okay, that weight is a little bit spread. You get 3. Ideally, I think you need a team of 3. Personally, we were still struggling even with just me and my mom. Okay, a third would have been much more balanced. Okay, because 2 people can take a break and that third person can kind of help out. But you put a third, on this here, 1, 2, 3. Then now you're spreading it. And if you have a bigger team, you're now spreading all the stress, okay, amongst each other. There are battles here, but so I'm not sure. Yeah, I see that there. I'm not sure what is CC there, but hopefully that caregiver. Not sure what CC is there, but
okay. All right. Okay, and if you want to clarify the question, if it wasn't clear enough, you can always ask again, and I'll be here to clarify. And somebody asked, when there's no one but you and you alone, is caregiver, are there any resources?
Okay, so I see that from, the question of about caregivers that do it by themselves, and I get it. Okay, and this becomes one of those conversations we need to do a deeper dive, meaning that, why are you doing it on your own? Okay, because it could be resources, it could be maybe you're in a rural community, maybe you just don't have, the team around you that you need to seek out. Okay, for example, there's a Dementia Society. Okay, I'm telling you this in a way that I can't give you the full answer that it's easy, okay? But if you set your mind that one of your challenges is building a team then you're gonna have to keep thinking, how do I build up a team? How do I get support? How can I, if you're making it online virtually, I'll give you a solution. I had virtual caregivers. This was before even COVID, okay? I set up a computer for my dad, okay? Where this was the game. Now it's easier, okay? But I could pop up on his screen, okay? So right now you guys are doing a lot of, if you can make it into this presentation, then you have access to technology, okay? This is again, like about 8 to 10 years ago, I was using Skype, and even Microsoft, Skype, they brought me over in Washington, Seattle, Washington, to chat with strategies about caregiving with Skype. And I would have caregivers care for my dad remotely, okay? So just because they're not physically nearby, I had my aunt in California caring for my dad in Toronto. A friend who's a nurse up in Northern Ontario caring for my dad. By the way, happy Nurses Week today. This week, I believe, is let's celebrate all the nurses there, which I adore, and they've been great in my world. But I would have a nurse friend, and she would be spending half an hour just popping in on Skype with my dad so that my mom can take a rest. Okay, so there are creative ways, but that is kind of until we get into a deeper dive, I can't really know your situation, but there are solutions. Okay. Or there are choices, sorry, there are choices. Thanks, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think this is quite related to the last question, also asking about live-in helpers.
It's okay. So yes, there are. So that question is that's a choice. Yeah, I know 2 brothers right now. They are caring for their mom who lives on her own, but they are struggling with their lives of working full time and all that. And they are trying to keep her at home as long as possible. Their choice could be long-term care. That's 1. Okay, they could get a live-in helper. That's 2. Okay, they could move in with her. That's 3. She could move in with one of them. That's 4. Now they could move in, or they could have her move at both places. Okay. I forgot to give you this tip. Okay. When you're coming with the choices, do not judge right away. Okay. What that choice means. Okay. Okay. So the goal is just come up with 3 choices or more. Okay. Okay. Don't judge yet. Judge later. Okay. Don't say, oh, well, we don't have the money for that. Oh, we don't know how to do that. Or we don't have the technology. Okay. Don't do that yet. Just say, hey, throw them all out. Okay. Discuss them. Okay. Okay. This is what it could look like. Do the calculations. And then that's where you can judge. So don't judge right away. People judge and they don't do the work. Okay. With those choices. So, but is there live-in helpers? Yes. But it really depends on your location to answer that question. I know someone's asking for my email address. I'll zoom in on here a little bit there. There's my email right there. Yeah, right there. Someone's asking that.
All right, so we'll do these last 2 questions here. One person is asking to see the failure slide again, if that's possible.
Yeah, okay. So the failure, where did I put the failure slide? Was that on this one here? I think so, yes. Oh, no, sorry. Failure slide is, failure. Okay, I talked to, oh, that was earlier, sorry. Hang on, I'm rewinding my presentation. There you go. Okay.
All right, perfect. And with that up, one person asked, with COVID restrictions, only choice is to care for him on my own. Also, children have many other responsibilities and excuses for not being available. Any suggestions? Oh, okay, so we did cover this a little bit earlier.
But I'll just bring up, just to answer that. Yeah, so as I told you, there are right now, okay, hopefully you got that, whoever asked for this failure slide. I'm going to come back to me here. Just because you have choices doesn't mean it's going to succeed. That's what I wanted y'all to understand. Okay, that's the game we're dealing with. Okay, but we are increasing our chances of success. Okay, you're asking me directly a question of any strategies. I gave some strategies about remote care. Okay, sometimes you got to let go and say, okay, if they're not going to be helpful, don't put your energy towards those you think that just because they're family and you love them, if they're not going to be there, move on. Okay, get that energy out of you and come up with other choices, or ask them, say, can you help me come up with other solutions? If you can't be here in person, can you try and be here remotely? Okay, or can you help pool some money to have someone come in and help me just for an hour or 2? Okay, you save gas. You don't have to come. Okay, if you're my kids, you don't have to come. Okay, with that gas money that you save, traveling, can you kind of help me get someone to, come and help out for 2 hours a week? Okay, creative ways. Okay, just you're moving the numbers around. So hopefully that helps there, Shelley, a little bit there.
All right, perfect. Oh, and somebody asked for the 3 choices slide again as well.
3 choice. Which one was that one? Sorry, the 3 choices. I'm trying to remember which slide that.
If you could clarify that one as well, we could.
It's 3 choices. The last one, or this one here, the power of 3 choices. These tips. I think.
If this is the wrong one, you can always ask again to clarify. And I think with that, we are gonna, we can end off with a comment that somebody left in the chat. Someone said that they asked for help. They left it very late because pride got in the way and thought we could do it all ourselves. But when we got help, the relief on the family was great for our stress levels. And thank you for giving your time. Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for sharing that.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for tuning in as well. We've reached 6 o'clock now. We invite everybody to our live webinar next Wednesday, May 12th. It's called Practical Nutrition and Fitness Tips for Older Adults. And if you would like any more information on education programs and support, you can always visit the Dementia Society website, dementiahelp.ca, or register to our weekly roundup. Thanks once again, Ron, for this presentation. And with all that being said, thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.